Hi, this is Sunil Hali on your favorite show, The Leading Force. Today, we're going to talk about a lawyer, an attorney who seems to be everywhere something political is happening, and who said what New York needs is a new senator, somebody who can go out and get the bacon. And when somebody asked him, why can't we float your name? He said, I don't have enough hair. Brilliant lawyer, visionary, courageous, straight shooter, and a force to reckon with because he makes other people's hair raise when he sees them in the court of law. With us today, on this show, The Leading Force, we have Ravi Batra. Ravi.
Well, first I want to congratulate you and wish you the very best, and all of your viewers a blessed 2012. And I hope that 2012 is the year that the American dream gets resurrected and comes out of the ICU that it's been in since 2008. The quote you're just citing was an interview done by Ozzy Pabra, who's one of the great political reporters who's now in Albany. And so hi, Ozzy. And that was in the context of Hillary leaving the Senate spot to go on and become, the Secretary of State through a presidential primary, but where she's gone on and really done the nation proud.
True.
I have to tell you that to characterize as you started, wherever politics is, that's Ben Smith's line, who's now one of the editors of Politico.
Right.
And I have to tell you, that is not how I see myself. I see myself as a father, an American, a lawyer, and then a Democrat, in that order. So the politics is the least part of me.
But this quote, this so truly describes Ravi Batra that even if you were to be offered to be going in for the Senate position, that's not what you're looking for. And the way you put it humorously, that I don't have enough hair, but you have enough acumen to be what you are today.
Well, as you well know, the one thing you know about knowledge is that the more you know you don't know.
True.
So as I keep getting older, I've put on weight, I've lost my hair, and I've become dumber. So that's the story of my life.
Let's go through the journey and then figure out what Ravi Batra is about. Ravi, tell us about your early childhood.
I had a very unique birth. As I was telling a dear friend upon a moment of reflection in the last couple of months, I said I've spent my life chasing the promise of my birth. And because I was blessed to be born to two remarkable parents, I think that every child ought to feel blessed to have the parents they have. But I feel uniquely so blessed because they were born in a moment when history was being made for, in today's terms, over 1.5 billion people. Because when the subcontinent was being divided up,
Three parts.
There's a lot of people. And you really know what a person is like in a moment of stress. Because only in a moment of stress do the masks come off and the reality comes out.
Yep.
And so, my parents moved to India from what is now Pakistan, during the 47 partition. And my mom was shot in the left foot, while on a refugee train.
And plus you had 6 of your siblings. You were not even born that time.
I wasn't born at the time,
and
right?
they were moving with 6 of your siblings.
5.
Five.
I have to do math.
Okay.
But I wouldn't want to have my one above me get upset that I made them older. But there were 5 siblings, yeah. And it's an interesting dynamic because, for the race riots that erupted during that time, does not speak necessarily well to any community, but it speaks really badly about how England partitioned the subcontinent. Because I consider the British Empire, who luckily the sun has set on, because if it wasn't for the British Empire, there'd be no United States. There'd be no Thomas Jefferson. There'd be no inalienable rights. And
saying.
so, India and United States are wedded in history. There's a destiny that cannot be denied, and it is now only beginning to unruffle its wings.
Unfold, yeah, perfect timing, yeah.
And so there's a great deal of joy to be achieved if one looks back at history and say, England gave us, thankfully, gave us the United States. England also gave us India and Pakistan.
True.
And it's maybe 60 years later, but I have no doubt in my mind that India and Pakistan will become the new European Union of SAARC. And they will become the anchor for SAARC because, at some point, the religious or political poison pill that is always used by interlopers in history begins to wear off, because the everyday person, whether they're in Madras or Chennai rather, or New Delhi or in Islamabad or in Karachi, at the end of the day, all they want is what every hardworking New Yorker wants. I want a better life for my children.
Why not?
I want a secure life. I want to be treated fairly in life. I want to support capital growth. I support capitalism, but I don't want to be a victim of capitalism. So we want to unleash the forces of competitiveness. But you can only do that if governance and governments promote people rather than corral them.
Yeah, but like you said, you came right out of the time when India got her independence,
Sure.
almost when it was kind of taking shape. India was not even taking shape at that time. And you were born to such an illustrious father who was such a successful businessman. What was the childhood like?
Magical. Every day in our home, there were ministers coming by, chief magistrates. I was 5 years old. I was in the lap of the Prime Minister of India. While every kid in India used to call him Chacha Nehru, I actually called him Chacha Nehru to his face, sitting in his lap.
Yeah.
And it was not a one-time event. So I grew up watching a nation build, and with my dad helping build it. Just like when Israel was founded in 48, a year later, when Ben Gurion called captains of industry, none of them said, like Halliburton, let's go see how much money we can make. Every captain of industry, like Jefferson's time, said, how much can we give to make a nation?
True.
So while I was born in 55, and by the time I was 5, it was 60 already, 1960, but it was still nation building time for India.
Well,
and
it
so
still is.
I was raised in that,
Yeah.
and I saw governance come to being. It's like I watched the cake of government
Yeah.
being baked in front of my eyes.
And while your dad was the commissioner in New Delhi.
Well, that was his
official
title.
title, yeah.
His official title, because I think the country hadn't yet figured out how to do titles correctly. His title was municipal commissioner, but municipal commissioner, as we all know, is a person who works under the mayor. That was not his role at all. That was not his duties.
Right.
He would be really more like today, a member of the city council. But again, because it was nation building time, he was exercising authority of a speaker, if you will, of the city council, or part mayor of New Delhi, simply because he was exercising executive authority. And because, if federal, state, or local government couldn't do whatever needed to get done, whoever could, in the spirit of Good Samaritan, they did. My dad was not the only one. There were, no nation is built by one person.
Oh, it cannot be.
But there's a great deal of outpouring of Good Samaritanness that comes out from everyone in a moment of crisis.
When India was taking shape, you're talking of the 60s, even though right at the time we lost, as you said, Pandit Nehru, and your dad moved to Hong Kong.
Yes. He was invited, I think in 1961, to visit London as the guest of PIA, Pakistan International Airways. Because at that time, India and Pakistan were friends,
Right.
Which is where they're going to end up again. And he discovered that when he went to England, that there was dignity of labor that was not present in India. And when he came back a changed man.
Okay.
And then there was an event that occurred relative to my conduct, because I was growing up, a child of a man of great power and position in society, which he had achieved by being good. And he discovered that there's an underbelly to being good. And the underbelly of being good is that people don't complain when your son is misbehaving, because they absorb it as the cost of having your benefit. So my dad's, unlimited mitzvahs that he was doing all over the place caused a lot of people simply to, accept me growing the way I was. And that was not acceptable to him. And he said poverty builds character. And so he decided to leave India to make us poor and essentially to teach me what life's about. So he gave his business to his best friend as a gift, and we moved to Hong Kong. He in 62 and us in January 63.
Now he moved to Hong Kong and then he moved to US.
Well,
where, of course,
with
Osaka,
a number of
you lived
years in Japan.
Yeah, right.
So he was in Hong Kong, Japan, and in New York.
But Ravi, when you look at today, when you are such a celebrity here, Washington D.C. or
My
in New
barber's
York
not
State,
impressed. I assure you.
We'll talk about what's coming up next segment. You keep on mentioning with such a sense of pride about your dad, and
But I do. The greatest man I ever knew.
Sure. Tell us about your mom.
Every woman who is blessed or cursed to be with a great man, because it's both. Our blessings are our curses, and our curses
In a
are
way
our
of saying,
blessings. Any woman who is in that, or any spouse, to be gender neutral, who is lucky enough to be with a force.
And 7 kids.
8
8
total,
kids,
yes. So I think she was even more remarkable than him, because she was a loyal, quiet supporter of his experiments in life. Gandhi talked about experiments in truth. My dad had many experiments in life, and it was it's quite an awesome upbringing when you're raised that way.
Now you look back on your illustrious career, whether as in education
It's not so illustrious.
or, well, you have a long way to go. Like I said, you are so young and raring to go every day as we see it. Between your mom and dad, who gives you the impression, or you feel like, or unless some other person, maybe your teacher, is your true mentor at that stage in life?
While they're both not here anymore, I sure hope they can hear it. I would have to say that while my dad was a hurricane type force in life, the fact that my mom went along with him in his multiple experiments in life, all the way down to when he retired and went back to India and became a Swami, took the cloth, became a priest. She went with him to an ashram. So I would have to say, on reflection, in answer to your question today, December 30th, 2011, that my mom was the greater mentor, because there's something to be said for quiet achievement than a loud achievement. And that's not denigrating my dad at all. As I said, he's the greatest man I ever knew.
No, I didn't mean that, but
But you put me on the spot, so I give you an honest answer.
It's very, very well said, Ravi, the way you captured the impressions that your dad left on you, which is the aggressiveness of his business and his success, and still being such a giving person as he has been or did all his life. And on the other hand, you talk about your mother. I think that played a big role, which we'll touch in the next segment once we come after the break.
Okay.
We have with us celebrated lawyer, a big name in New York and Washington, D.C., growing every day, Ravi Batra. On this show, The Leading Force. We'll be right back.